Hello, my dear children. Myself Sujata. Today we'll learn the seventh chapter from First Flight, The Glimpses of India. It consists of three parts. The first part is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village, baker or padre, who still has an important place in Goan culture, although the Portuguese have left India long back. The second part is a pen portrait of Coorg, which is a coffee country famous for its rainforests and spices. The third part is about the tea plantations in Assam. Today we'll be dealing with the first part, A Baker from Goa by Lucio Rodrigues. Okay, Baker from Goa is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village. Okay, before getting into the chapter, let me ask you a few questions and try to find answers for it. What images of people and of places come to your mind when you think of our country? What parts of India have you lived in or visited? Can you name some popular tourist destinations? You may know that apart from the British, the Dutch and the French, the Portuguese have also played a part in the history of our country. Can you say which parts of India show French and Portuguese influences? Can you say which parts of India grow tea and coffee? Okay, now let us read and understand the chapter together. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Reminiscing nostalgically means thinking fondly of the past. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. We still have amongst us the mixers, the moulders, and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old, time-tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. The thud and the jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. Heralding means announcing. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as padre in Goa. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. Once, when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jang jang sound of a specially made bamboo stuff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. Rebuke means an expression of disapproval. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket. Somehow I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. Okay, now try to answer these questions. What are the elders in Goa nostalgic about? Is bread making still popular in Goa? How do you know? What is the baker called? When would the baker come every day? Why did the children run to meet him? Okay, now let us continue reading. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread, known as the ball. Just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bulinhas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as the kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers, which were shorter than full length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a peddler. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the old days. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family, and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plum physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. Open testimony means public statement about a character or quality. Okay, now try to work out the exercises given at the end of the chapter.